Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. It is Coach Lee, your productivity and accountability coach, here for another Sunday of, you've guessed it, Success Starter Series. Y'all know we go live each and every Sunday. And it's a new month. It is the month of May. One of the best months in the year. I mean, every month, everybody could be the best month. But as your productivity and accountability coach, you know I'm here to help empower you to find that hidden time in your day, time that you can use to pour back into yourself as you pursue your goals, your purpose, and your life passions, while still maintaining your current responsibilities, but without the stress and without the overwhelm. Because we do so much that we need to make sure that we're prioritizing ourselves. And y'all know what time it is. New month, new topic for Success Starter Series and us as we journey throughout the month. And the theme for the month is momentum over mayhem. That is the theme for the month of May. It's all about making sure that we're taking action, that we're moving, that we use that momentum to keep us moving instead of being chaotic, having mayhem in our life. And so as we start off in that vein, as we kick off in that vein, today we're going to be talking about how planning your month can change everything. Because this is the first full week of the month of May. And I used last week to plan for this month. And, well, really the week before that, I should say. But finished it out last week. But if you're coming into the month and you're just starting to get your planning going, or if you're coming into the month and you're feeling behind, hopefully this will empower you and help you to understand why planning your month is important and how it's going to change everything as you go forth and as you move forward and as you do the thing in the future coming days, weeks, and months. And hopefully you can utilize this to help you to make change as you go forth into the next month, in the next month. And so we want to dive in and we want to talk about how planning is going to be the key. It's going to be the thing to set you up for success. Because if you ever feel like your month starts off and you're already behind because of the fact that we're 4 days into the month already, and it's May 4th. I don't do with Star Wars. This is the day that commands you to do something. It commands you to move, which goes right in line with the theme for the month, momentum over mayhem. Day is March 4th. It's commanding you to May 4th. I guess March 4th is really the day that does that. But anywho, March 4th, like go, like prepare, go for it. But anyways, if you feel that you're already behind, and let me know in the comments, whether you care live or on the replay, do you feel behind right now? As you listen to this, how do you feel about the month of May? Because if you feel behind already, it's not you. It's your lack of a plan. And in a sense, I do got to do with you because you got to do it. So I want you to set your intention and set your plan and hopefully learn from this, because we're supposed to learn from our mistakes. So if we come into the month feeling behind, we need to realize and acknowledge what is causing that feeling so we can make changes. So today we're going to be talking about how planning your month can shift your stress, your overwhelm, that chaotic feelings, those feelings of mayhem, and instead boost your productivity, help you, give you momentum, and help you not actually feel in control, but to be in control, even if your day, your week, your month, or the idea of it might feel or you might think is chaotic. It won't be as chaotic with the plan. So there's that. So I realized in April, because if y'all been following, it took me until about the middle of April to feel like I was finally ready for April. And then after that, it was immediately time to transition into planning for May. Because what I realized, and so what I corrected in this month, was I used to plan for the month ahead, the last week of the month. But the last week of the month often involves 2 months. So for example, last week was April up until Wednesday. And then on Thursday, it became May. So that used to be my planning week for the month. But what I realized is that oftentimes, because the whole point of planning something and giving yourself a week to plan it is that you can do bit by bit, day by day. But I also know and acknowledge that with working full time, the weekends are my big focus time and power time. So if I'm using the last week of the month to plan for the month ahead, but by the time we get to the weekend, we're already into that new month, I'm coming into the month behind. And I realized that And so then I was trying to get my momentum and to get myself back together. And so once I kind of like looked back and realized, because before I used to give myself the weekend to plan for the month ahead because the weekends are big focus times for me. But then once I started having more things to do, like booking more podcasts and more speaking things, and those taking place on the weekend, I needed to have more time in my weekend to actually plan and not just be speaking and, doing podcasts and things like that. So I was like, okay, let me give myself the last week to plan for the month ahead. But then as I got into the groove of that, I felt that I was still rushing. And so that's where I realized that I needed to give myself more time to plan. And so by giving myself the last full week of the month to plan, if something happened to where I was still rolling over it a little bit into the following week, I was still in the month. So that gave me the opportunity to not only wrap up the month that I was in, but also plan for the months that was to come. Because sometimes you find yourself, and let me know if it's just me, when I start planning for the month ahead, I would kind of give up on the month that I was actually in and just start thinking about all the things in the future instead of also living in the present. The whole point of planning is to set yourself up for the future, not just to jump into the future without leaving the present, because you haven't finished the present work, which is going to impact you in the future work, if that makes sense. And so I want you to understand that you can learn from my mistakes, you can make adjustments, and you can figure it out. And so now instead, what I do by taking the time to take the last full week or whatever month it is to plan for the month ahead, that I'm able to then plan with purpose, so that even when life get to life and when it get real ghetto out here, I can still be ultimately grounded and solid in my plan for the month. And so that also gave me the wiggle room and the space to breathe and be like, all right, I got this. I can easily transition from one month into the next instead of like leaving the month that I was in and just hopping to the next thing and just being all discombobulated all over the place. Ain't nobody got time for that. And so as I worked through this process and figured out how to articulate the process, because sometimes I just be doing stuff and it works for me, and then I got to figure out how to articulate it to y'all. Because the whole way that I got into this whole coaching thing was y'all was watching me live life, how you do that. And I'm like, what you talking about? I'm just living. But then I realized there was a system to my madness and there was a process to all of this. And so I want to give you 3 reasons why planning and doing monthly planning is going to actually help you in life and help you as you move forward. And yeah, I hope it helps you. So let's dive in. So why does it matter to plan? Why does planning matter? For 3 reasons. Clarity, creating rhythm, and it prepares you to pivot. Hey girl, hey. Hey Alexis. So when we look at, because y'all know we're going to use the lead method to guide us in these 3 things. When we look at clarity, when we look at what does clarity give us? If you like me, why I'm lucky you, you know what? I'm not even going to answer that question. I'm not even going to justify you with a response. Why I'm lucky you at work. But when it comes to clarity, clarity is all about seeing clearly, is about vision, is about all of that. So when you look at clarity, for example, me, when I got glasses for the first time, so I got astigmatism in my eyes, so I never realized that the headlights weren't supposed to look like that till I got glasses. And I was like, oh snap! I can see clearly now when I'm driving at night. It was a big difference. And that gave me more confidence to drive at night. Not that I ever stopped driving at night, but just follow my madness. Just follow the process here. So clarity is important because once you're clearer on something, it gives you more confidence to go forth and do it. If you learned how to skate, how to drive, how to whatever, the more clear you got about the process, the more confident you were in showing up in the process. And so that's what I mean by clarity is going to give you more confidence, because when you start planning ahead, it's going to reduce that mental clutter, which is going to hopefully decrease the physical clutter, which is going to allow you more space, capacity, time, all of that to get the work done. Because when you know what it is, when you're clear on what it is that matters, it's easier for you to say no to the things that don't matter. So if you're clear, because of the fact that you have created a plan, made a plan, and did a plan, if you're clear on what it is that you're focusing on for this week, when things come up that aren't in alignment with that, you're going to say no to them, right? I hope so. Because that's the whole point of this. So if you can understand that clarity is going to give you more confidence, when you look, let's dive into the lead method. When you look at what it is that you're doing, with that clarity, it's going to give you the ability to say, nah, this ain't doing what I needed to do to help me to get to where it is that I need to get to. And so if you can understand that, you'll start getting more rhythm, which is going to lead us to the next thing. By planning, you create rhythm, not just a routine. Like, yes, you're going to have a routine because of the fact that it's going to flow, but you're going to create rhythm in the sense that as you flow from thing to thing within this routine, it jives. It goes well together. Does that make sense? So it's basically what I'm trying to say is like, it's not about just putting all these things on your schedule. It's not all about just stuffing your schedule with all these things. It's about having these habits that ultimately are in alignment with what it is that you want to do, what it is that you need to do, and where it is that you're looking to go. And so as you work through the process of creating these routines and getting into the rhythm of going through the routine, then you're going to be moving in such a way that it's going to help you to go after the goals. Does that make sense? Because if we look at it from the lead method aspect, if we're in the examination phase, when we're examining why do I have this routine, what is it setting me up for? Like, I have a morning routine. What does that set me up for? It helps me flow through my morning and know what it is that I need to do to get myself ultimately into this office to get some work done before it's time for me to work out. Why do I have this evening routine? So that I can make sure that I flow through planning my day for the next day, talking to y'all in stories, getting my cup of water filled up so that I can go to bed. And within that evening routine, I know that by 8:45, I'm supposed to be off of social media. And by 9:15, my phone's supposed to be in the windowsill. Because that's going to set me up for 2:30 in the morning when my alarm goes off to be able to wake up. Because I found that when I'm on the phone after 8:45 scrolling social media, I stay up later. When I'm on the phone playing my game after 9:15, when 2:30 in the morning comes, it's harder to get up. But once I have this routine, it allows me to flow rhythmically, and it helps me to put myself in the position to win, to be confident in the fact that when that alarm goes off at 2:30, I'm going to be able to wake up. It's all about creating a flow and understanding and choosing the habits that are going to help you to move forward towards your goals, move forward towards the things that you want to pursue, move forward towards what it is that you're looking to do. It helps you to have the energy to show up and to be the best version of yourself. Hey, Fiona. And so if you can understand that monthly planning is going to help you, and you understand that in planning, it gives you more clarity, because in having more clarity, you'll be more confident. In planning, it's going to help you to have the routines and have the systems that are going to help you to be able to flow throughout life. Then you'll be able to continue to show up, to do the work, and to move forward as you work through your plan. And so the last thing that it does, why my computer went to sleep? I'm over here trying to talk to y'all. There we go. If you understand that, the last thing it's going to do is it's going to help you to be prepared to pivot. Because if we examine and we get ready to execute, we sometimes see that I have this system, I have this plan, but today doesn't look like any other day. Because life is going to life. And when life lives, planning is going to be the thing that's going to help you to adapt instead of having to react. And so if you can be proactive by planning ahead, you won't have to react and feel like you're behind already. So for example, yesterday, normally on the weekend, I don't wake up at 2:30 in the morning. I normally wake up at like 4:30 or 5. But yesterday, once I was planning out my day for the next day, I realized that if I wanted to be able to get up and do my morning routine and get done what I needed to get done, I would need to wake up at 2:30. Because I went to volunteer and I had to be at my job basically to volunteer at 7:30. And I know that when I leave home at 7, given that school traffic and all the things, I get to work by 8. But on the weekend, my church is also in that direction, so I know how long it takes me to get over there. Anyways, I knew I needed 30 minutes. So I was like, okay, well, if I need to leave at 7, i.e. the time that I leave Monday through Friday to go to work, if I want to get through my morning routine and do the things I normally do in the morning before going to work, i.e. volunteering and work, I needed to wake up at 2:30. So I set my alarm and I woke up at 2:30 because I had a plan. I knew the ultimate end goal. I needed to be to work by 7:30. And in reverse engineering from that end goal, I knew I needed to leave home by this time. And because of volunteering and everything else that was already on my schedule, coaching, call, co-working, panel discussion, all the things, I knew I had to get my workout in. Make sure I was able to meal prep on Friday because I worked from home. But, like, do my normal Saturday morning routine, get my workout in, plan the day, all the things. And I also had to finish loading up clothes to take to the donation thing. I reverse engineered and created that game plan to know that this is what that looks like. And so when it comes to that execution phase, when it comes to planning is going to help you to be prepared to pivot. Because life is going to life. And so when things shift, or when you realize that you need to adjust, you won't spiral out of control because of like, oh snap, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. You just pivot. You just make adjustments. And so if you're ready to stop winging it, if you're ready to have a plan that not only matches you, but more importantly, matches the life that you live in, so that it will help you to show up and do the work, you can book a free personalized productivity audit because I can help you to create and build a monthly flow that you can actually follow that works with you, your life, helping you to build and create the routines that work for you. And so I want you to understand that monthly planning, this same process we talked about that you can utilize for planning your month, you can do this week by week, because what is my favorite thing to tell y'all to do? Do a brain dump and make a to-do list. That's all a part of planning. It works daily as well, because when I planned my week, I knew I had to volunteer. But then as the time got closer and the timelines were all kind of solidified for everything, the reverse engineering really came into play to make sure that if I'm doing these 3 things, because I had 3 things back to back. If I'm doing these 3 things that are back to back, how do we make sure they all happen? And so I want you to look at your schedule. I want you to examine your schedule, and I want you to be able to execute on your schedule. And in being able to plan, you need to understand the 3 reasons why monthly planning, weekly planning, or daily planning for that matter, really matters. It's going to help you when you're busy, when you're stressed out. Honestly, it's going to help you when you're busy to hopefully keep you from being stressed out. So understand that clarity is going to give you more confidence. Creating routines is going to give you the rhythm you need to flow through life and flow through the week and flow through your day. And then when life gets to life, you need to be prepared to pivot. So I want you to take that, to walk through this week, more importantly, to walk through this month, and to put this into play when you look at your month. Because most oftentimes, we can look at what's on our calendar for the month right now, and we can also be realistic about it. It's more likely that things are going to be added to that than things are going to be taken away from it. And so if you can look at your calendar and start planning now with what it is you have planned, with knowing in the back of your mind that more things are likely going to be added, you'll be able to know at what capacity, when things are offered to me to be added, I can actually say yes to them. At what capacity can I say yes to things that are trying to be added to my schedule? If you don't have a plan, you're not going to be able to know. You're not going to be able to figure it out. You're not going to be able to work through it. And that's where I come in as your productivity and accountability coach, to help you to be able to figure out what you do and don't have time for. And when I say help you to figure out, I'm not telling you yes and I'm not telling you no to anything that's on your schedule. I'm going to help you to figure out, is this really important to you? And how are you going to make it happen? And you walk through the door figuring out. And when I say walk through the door, I'm not leaving you at the door and telling you to go by yourself. We doing it together. It's collaborative. But I'm not going to tell you what to do at the same time. I'm not going to tell you to tell them no. You have to make that decision for you. If you say you're going to tell them yes, I'm going to help you create a plan so that where that yes comes in, we can still take care of the other things that we need to do without the stress and without the overwhelm. Because when I say I want you to be able to figure out how to balance work and life without neglecting your current responsibilities, I don't want you to feel like being able to plan and being able to say yes to things and say no to things requires me to completely clear my schedule and throw away the life that I'm currently living. No, we're working with the life that we got and we're making adjustments, okay? So let's get clear on what it is that we want. Let's start creating routines that gives us a flow, and let's be prepared to pivot when life gets to life and then you have to pivot. So again, if you're looking for support, for accountability, for help with that, you can comment the word plan below or head to my link in my bio, and you can book a free personalized productivity audit, because in that 20-minute call, we can figure out what it is that's the struggle, and we can start working on the game plan to fix it, okay? So it's been Coach Lee, your productivity and accountability coach, here for another Sunday of the Success Starter series as we dive into the theme and dive into the topic for the month of May, momentum over mayhem. I hope today you understand how planning your month can really change the game for you when it comes to planning your life, planning your days, and planning your weeks, and how planning your month can ultimately change everything when it comes to your productivity. Get clear, get into routine, and be prepared to pivot. That's what I got for you today, guys. I'll see you next week, same time, same place. Coach Lee is out. Boop, boop.